Thank you. Let's take a legal deep dive into this case now. Criminal defense attorney Josh Colesrud joins us now. Josh, what do you think were the factors in leading now to this death penalty from the county attorney?
Well, in this case in particular, what the prosecution was looking at was that the victim in this case was executed because she had come forward and she was going to testify against Mr. Young, who's one of the defendants in this case. So the prosecution thinks, and rightfully believes, that this is really a crime against the justice system. And they have to send a message, not only to Mr. Young, but to others in the community, that they're not going to back down if you go after one of their witnesses. But it's not just that. You know, there was something called cruel and depraved conduct. In fact, the car that she was found in was burning while she was still alive. And because of that, that's also an aggravating factor that justifies the death penalty.
Yeah, so a mitigating factor would make it less, and aggravating makes it worse. And plus, you had multiple victims here, I think, which is another aggravating factor. So when you talk about persecuting or prosecuting a death penalty case, it's very different than a non-death penalty case, correct?
It is, and it takes much longer. The wheels of justice move really slowly, but they are
more expensive too, right?
Very expensive. It's the most expensive type of litigation, really, that we have in the criminal justice system. And the cases can take years, and even once there's a conviction, you really do face decades of appeals before there's ever an actual execution because of what happened at trial.
You know, this trial, we've reported before, it has been delayed 19 times. In fact, Young has even accused his own attorney for being unprofessional. So now with the death penalty, you know, how does this change his defense team's paradigm?
Well, actually, I think Mr. Young did something smart. You know, what he wants to do is create as many appealable issues as possible, because in a death penalty case, they're treated with priority for appellate processes. And so when the appellate court and eventually the Arizona Supreme Court looks back on this case, they have to go through each and every issue. So if he can create some appealable issues before trial even starts, I think that's actually a good strategy, even though it's probably not justified in this case.
And it's tough on victims' families, these death penalty cases, because a lot of these men and women have been on death row for 30 plus years.
Oh, yeah.
And I've talked to victims who have said, look, I mean, every time I get a letter in the mail and it comes from the office, the Attorney General's office, I'm thinking, what happened? Are they getting off on a technicality? So not only have you lost a loved one, then you go through the trial, and then you have to put up to 30 years before they're finally executed.
It prolongs the pain.
And people just want closure. I mean, it used to be once you were found guilty, you go out back and you get hanged or shot. But, you know, that's no longer the case. But, interestingly enough, it was the case in Arizona up until about the 1920s or 30s, until we adopted the model penal code, just as an aside there.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah, and obviously we still need a conviction in this case. You still have to go to trial.
Yep.
Just talking about the fact that it's a death penalty case makes it different. All right, thank you for doing that.